M.M Out There, over there, everywhere, all over the place, part 2 of a very scintillating conversation with the Apostle M. Roy Scantlebury. Now, when we left off part 1, we were talking about Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
And you were talking to great musicians who come from there. And I myself was not aware of most of these things. As I said several times before, anytime you hear the apostle, you're always learning something new that you've probably known about it, but you didn't pay any attention to it. For instance, I retract. Festival and carnival. Those of you who saw part 1 now know what that is. And you also know the connection between Louisiana and Barbados, especially Spice Town. Now getting back to the crossover thing.
Okay.
I find that I may look at it probably in a different way than you do. I think just like at Christmas time, people use these occasions to indulge in the drinking of alcohol and making merry and doing things that they wouldn't normally do, which are more of a detriment to themselves than anything else. That's just my opinion. You did mention about the benefits, but you never got to the part to show about the benefits. There must be some things that are not beneficial. We'd like to hear from you.
Well, let me go into the element of festival and carnival. Now, it is known in Barbados that during the crossover season, there's a high consumption of alcohol beverages. Okay? Not only that, but the hospital has coined a term for babies who are born in the month of March of the following year. They're called crossover babies. Okay?
Because that's about 9 months after.
9 months after.
Okay, so this will be conceived around that particular time of recklessness.
Okay, so that is not, you cannot compare in many cases that to Christmas because that's not the activity at Christmas. Okay? Christmas is a gift-giving season. Crossover is a merriment season. Okay, so the two
Gay abandon.
the two atmospheres are completely different. Okay, so one of the things that becomes even heavier for Barbados is that the type of individuals, many on some levels who come to Barbados during that time are individuals who are here just for that purpose. Okay, so a lot of our individuals, matter of fact, I had a young man that out of that same crossover season had an experience where he was at a party and met a young lady for the first time. She took him, went out into his vehicle, took a condom out of her bag, had sex with him, and went back to the party. And when he returned to the party to try to talk to her, she said, "I don't want to talk to you, that's all I wanted." Okay? And so this is the type of activity we're talking about that individuals experience when it comes to this level of activity for this very short period of time. It's very intense, and many times a lot of things actually happen that individuals didn't really plan for. So we have obviously our advantages, and then we have our disadvantages, where the whole element is concerned. But let me go back to what I've said. It should be about our people and about our culture, and it should be about where we have come from, due to us being a nation that produced the best quality sugar anywhere in the world.
Well said, Apostle. And I think we have actually gone away from that. It's commercialized, and certain people actually look forward to this time of year so they can make lots of money off the unfortunate citizens who, by enjoying themselves, feed into this whole thing and make others wealthy, and they themselves are poor, and much more poor after the event, because they have to pay back the money that they borrowed so that they could enjoy themselves.
Yeah, well, when you get to the commercial element where they're actually giving out crop balloons, so
Yes.
that's something that even our central bank should be watching.
But I even saw an ad, Christmas in crop over. They're combining the two now. Christmas and crop over. That's the level that they've actually gone to now.
Yeah. And let me go back to the point that I've shared about our nation. Our nation is so rich in history and its culture that there are several elements that we don't need to go to in order to publicize Barbados. I remember, back in the day, the Ellerslie Folk Chorale. There were other groups singing out Barbados and
But the Saint Barbados, it still exists though. Saint Barbados.
Yeah, but they had a very high part to play in what was happening. And there was a guy, I don't remember his name, but to tell you that there were elements where this was falling apart. There was a guy who sang a song about the NCF and their flyer for crop over that year. And he was saying, if showing on the stage, you see took band, two stilt men. Back then it was Spice Band at the stadium. You see, full stall on Spring Garden. But what was missing from the flyer was, he said there was not one single Calypsonian on it. Okay, so that was a sign. Okay,
of the deterioration.
That was a sign, a very early sign of what was happening. And so, even with this, we found out now that in addition to our saying there's now the different styles of music that's coming on. And a lot of the music that is coming out of Barbados right now cannot be pushed on the international scene.
Well, I tell you this, one of our best performers collection, a guy called Mikey. I read an interview with him where they've now brought up this different type of competition, and he himself doesn't understand it.
Right.
He can't understand what they're doing,
right.
but he plays along with the game.
Well, there's a gentleman, the Amaral, who is, one of our radio personalities here in Barbados, who's very, very critical about the music in Barbados. A lot of people don't understand him, but, Amaral came out when music was in transition, okay? And being a musician myself, and you grew up in a Pentecostal church, and a lot of our music was, whether you want to admit it or not, was fast-paced. It was, soca, calypso, whichever you want to. But I happened, several years ago, to listen to an interview with, I think it was the Trinidad television station, and Super Blue, who was one of their main.
Yeah, used to be known as Blue Boy, by the way. Blue Boy I happen to know personally, and he's my friend.
Yeah, one of the greatest performers the Caribbean has ever produced.
Yeah, but he's the one who brought this thing about wave your hand in the air and that sort of thing. He once spent, when he was living in Toronto, he once spent an entire weekend at my house.
Yeah.
Super Blue.
Great.
His name was Blue Boy that time.
Great performer.
Yeah. I first met him in Trinidad.
Right.
I went in 1980.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that would win things, this so-called competition back to back.
World March.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And so he was speaking, and he started to talk about Barbados and the music that was coming out of Barbados. Eddie Grant produced a lot of Stalin's music. A lot of the performers from Trinidad came here to Barbados to get their music produced.
Ice Studios,
Yes,
owned by Eddie Grant.
And Eddie Grant actually did back up for Stalin in many of his songs. A lot of people didn't even know that. But he made a statement that caught my attention when I was listening. He said, at one point in time, the music coming out of Barbados was 25 years ahead of Trinidad. The level of music was coming out. And then let me add to this before I come to you, Mr. Morris. Punker, Mr.
Punker,
yes.
Wayne
Willock. He sang a song where he had on stage a tuck band.
Yeah. And
he had the drummer play what was coming out of Trinidad, now being called, they gave it a new term,
Ring bang,
Ring Bang,
ring
Ring
bang,
Bang.
ring bang.
And he was singing in this song. He said, now listen to the tuk bang rhythm, and then listen to what they're calling ring bang. And he said it's the same difference. So this is
tuk bang rhythm is all they bring.
the tuk bang rhythm and the ring bang rhythm sound exactly the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was trying to
Which came first?
Yeah,
Which came first?
That our natural tuk rhythm was stolen by Trinidad, renamed, rebranded, and brought back onto the musical market. It's what we had. Okay, we started first, and all this is coming. We started first with the concept of a song with dancers. We had Serenade, or One Step Forward, Two Step Backward. That was a massive hit. Edwin Yearwood came with his song with Barbadian, with the dancers to the music. We had Red Plastic Bag with the Raga Soca. We don't lead in Barbados, we follow. That's one of the big problems that I have with our country.
And
we have it here first.
Yeah.
Let people take it
and
from
exploit
it, and give it back to us, and our people jump and shout at it.
Again,
it's awful.
The apostle in full flow. Continue.
So, even the Mighty Gabby produced a song called Cassandra, okay, with no brass, bass line, drums, and just background music and background vocals. I mean, a smashing hit. That tells us of the level of creativity Barbadian musicians and composers had at the time. We've lost that, and this is one of the reasons why our country is now depending on what the rest of the world is doing to create an image for ourselves, and this is where we have this huge problem, Mr. Morris.
Do you think that they actually had a good chance when we had the spooge beat? They never They never really took advantage of that.
They never took advantage of that, and on the other front, many people didn't even know that he actually signed, Bob Marley actually signed back up.
Yes, if you actually read, there's a biography of Bob Marley called Catch a Fire,
Yeah.
where Bob Marley makes it quite clear that he was heavily influenced by Jackie Opel. Yes, he was very influenced by Jackie Opel.
That's what I'm saying. We're constantly producing things at a high level, but we're letting people steal. Spooge is a natural beat to Barbados. I was in Trinidad many times, preached at many churches in Trinidad, and it's hard for even Trinidad drummers to play the soca rhythm. It's hard. So it's something that is natural to Barbados. It's something that is natural to Barbadian musicians. And I think this is one of the things that we really need to sit down, come back to the drawing board, and really reassess who we are, where we're taking our country, and then chart our course forward.
But not only that, talking about, while we were talking about music, steel pan music in the 60s, which is before you were born, I'm a bit older than that. We had top class steel bands here.
Yeah.
I mean, in the north.
That would meet in the north, and that would meet people at the airport. And I'll tell you, some of the top musicians, Edwin Yearwood, Square One, all of those are bands that started right here in the north of the island. We have probably the best drummer in St. Peter, Mr. David Burney.
Yes, who plays at
all the big shows,
all the finals and so on. In fact, I think if you look at the entire band, he's the only one who's been there probably from inception.
That's right. A lot of our bands, with troubadours and all those guys. I mean, musicians that came out of St. Peter. So this is one of the things that I think is very necessary for us going forward.
Yes. Apostle, our time is running out. It's always so quick when we have the apostle on. We'll have to continue this conversation at some time,
Yes, sir.
But for now, M.M Out There saying that's it for now. Time out. We're gone till next time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Always a pleasure having you here.
Pleasure being with you. Thank you.
Okay.